Welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I'm Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson.
I'm Shannon Penrod. Thrilled to be here
Hi,
with you
good
this
to
morning.
be here with you too.
And we got a big show, including a furry friend who's going to be on the
Yes,
show
we do.
today. I informed my dog this morning. I talk to her sometimes in the morning. And I have a wonderful, wonderful dog that we're not even sure which 7 breeds she is, but she was a shelter dog.
Right.
And she's so sweet with us. She's so kind and wonderful with us. But anybody else is around, especially blonde women, because apparently a blonde woman
Abused her at some point.
and she would eat.
I know
you
you've
in one bite.
always told me not to go anywhere
We
near
call her Cujo. We don't allow anybody to be around her because she's vicious.
Right.
When she thinks that you're threatening my home, which is standing and breathing in my
Right.
home with my child in it, forget it. But I talked to her in the morning and I was saying to her, I'm having a dog on the show today, and when I get home, you're going to be jealous. And because she'll smell me up and down.
Right.
She's somewhere there's a bloodhound in her.
Right.
But I was like, we're having a puppy.
Aw.
Daisy, we're having a puppy on the show. And she was just wagging her tail and was like, do I get to come? And No, you don't. So
we
you
have two
dogs.
dogs. We have 2 dogs. We have a big dog that we call a Labradese because he's part Lab, part Bernese Mountain Dog.
He's beautiful.
And he is beautiful. And then we have a little rescue pup named Casey, a terrier who is a mess.
Sweet.
She's sweet, but she's a
though.
mess.
She
still hasn't gotten quite, she still has accidents in the house, and she was on the streets for quite a while, apparently, before we adopted her.
But she's super duper sweet.
She
and the
is,
two of them
and
together
adorable.
make quite a pair.
They do.
And it's a lovely thing. And our kids they respond really well to animals.
Yes, they do.
And that's not every kid on the autism spectrum, but I remember we were in a little condo where we couldn't have a pet, and we were forever going with the therapist and walking around the block, and we would always find these dogs that were running around with no collars on and in the street, and we would rescue them and bring them home and put up flyers and wait for the owners to come and get them. I mean, honestly, almost like on a weekly basis. And the therapist would always say to me, he like responds so much better, Shannon, when there's a dog around. You got to figure out a way to have a dog.
Well, they call them social lubricants too, because it gives them something to talk about and relate to.
Well, and that was our plan when we got our dog. That he'll be walking the dog around the block, and people will be talking. The way it turned out is that he's being dragged around the block, and people are going, "Oh gosh!" and running in their homes. So that wasn't how it worked out. But still, teaching them the responsibility of giving the dog water, petting the dog, letting the dog in and out, walking the dog, feeding it, all those things, really good life skills.
They are good life skills.
And it helps to reduce stress for the whole family. Even when they eat your couch, there is still a reduction in stress. Anyway, we got a lot in the news, and then we got a guest coming up a little bit later. Debbie Clark is going to be with us from Autism, and with ACT today, you guys,
we've got a nice check to give her today,
because there's a family that's going to get a dog, and the
And
dog is going to
be
come
trained
and be here with us.
and the dog is going to be trained.
And
by
do we
Debbie.
know? And do we know what the dog's name is yet?
The dog's name? Yes, we do.
I don't know what the dog's name is.
I have the dog's name here somewhere.
But it's going to be exciting because a dog in the house is always better than a dog not in the house. In any case, let's dive into some news.
The dog's name, Blau.
Blau.
That's what I have. Maybe it's supposed to be blue, but it's Blau.
Okay.
We'll see if that's correct.
Samantha's telling me something. What did you tell me, Samantha?
It's an odd name.
It's Blau. She says it's Blau. You're absolutely correct.
There must be a reason for that name.
I can't wait to hear.
Okay.
There's a story behind that. In any case, some in the news for us. One of the things that we know, and you know certainly as the Executive Director of Autism Care and Treatment today, that the number one cause of death in children that are under the age of, I think it's 15, on the autism spectrum is drowning.
Right.
And we've always been big advocates of doing all kinds of things to ensure that that doesn't happen to your child. And one of them is giving them swimming lessons.
Swimming lessons, very important.
And a new study is showing that if you specifically tailor swim lessons to life-saving skills like being able to flip over in your back, that it really can make a difference, that children on the autism spectrum benefit from those kinds of lessons. It's just all the more reason why we should do it. We really want to encourage everybody that's out there. There are all different kinds of ways to get this kind of training
and
for
there's
your
some
kids.
different methods of teaching an autistic child.
Yeah. and you know much more about the swimming thing than I do. We really have to have our swim chick, Tammy, our swim chick, back on the show. You're somebody who is a very proficient swimmer, and I'm not.
Right.
And sitting and talking with the two of you, I can swim and I can hold my own in the deep end of the pool. It's not that I don't know how to swim. I can do that. But in terms of being able to support a child in the pool in the deep end, I wouldn't put me in charge of that. I don't think. So for me, it's particularly, I want to say to parents, we really have to make this a priority, that our kids can all
and it's
swim
important to start thinking about it now, no matter what age your child is, because summer comes around way too fast. And there are, as we said, different techniques, different instruction techniques. And
there's even grant money.
There is. Through Autism Speaks, they provide swim classes for children and swim lesson scholarships. They awarded 134 organizations since 2014.
There you go. So what I suggest you do is find a place near you that does swim lessons. Call them and say, do you have any experience with kiddos that are on the autism spectrum? Because you really want to have somebody who knows how to do special needs swimming. And our local one automatically was half price for a kiddo who was on the spectrum, automatically. But ask them, do you participate in the Autism Speaks grant situation? And if they don't, right now it's open grant season for ACT Today, act-today.org. From now to the end of the month, you can write in and ask for a grant. And there are other places too online and other organizations that provide grants for swimming. Usually I say to parents, because there's so many places that give grants for the swimming, don't apply for a grant for swimming from ACT Today. Save that for something else that you need, so that you maximize your grant funds. But if you really can't find something, there are grants through ACT Today.
There are.
Okay. Moving on to our, you want to start that off?
There's a study that says that autism is mostly genetic. This is in the Independent, out of UK, the Independent News. Is that what it is? The Independent?
Yes, Independent.
Okay. And it says that autism is caused by genetic factors with the heritability of the condition 33% higher than previously thought. This is new research.
And so that leads us to a number of 83% of it is, according to this, is hereditary. We have said for the longest time it's epigenetics, that it is both the environment and your genetics.
Heredity combined together.
And what this doesn't really address in this study is that more and more, I think what we're seeing is that with certain genetic makeup, it means you are more likely to react to the environmental stimulus.
Exactly.
So,
leaves you more susceptible to those environmental stimulus.
But still, what I want people to know is that the flip side of it is that people who have been toying with lessening the environmental have been able to have great success in either eliminating the risk for autism or minimizing the impact of it.
Right.
So while I think it's important to get these things and to really nail down the genetics of it, the environmental still plays a ginormous role.
Yes, it sure does.
So, okay.
And then this is a very interesting story. You want to take this one about too much Facebook?
The headline says, too much Facebook can give you virtual autism. We just last week we were talking about how there's all of these different ways that autism awareness has increased, and that you turn on the TV and there's a character on every single TV show that has autism, and in some cases they're actually using the word autism. And so it's wonderful, but then we get things like this, and it adds to the misconception, because basically what they're saying is that if you spend all your time on your smartphone, your social skills go downhill, and your ability to make eye contact goes downhill because you're engrossed in something and you're distracted. But I think we need to be really careful how we language these things, because it makes it sound like your smartphone can give you autism, which then suggests that if you don't have if you don't have a smartphone, then you won't have autism, and all of those are wild misconceptions.
And it says the more Facebook friends you have, the more stress you're subjected to.
What? Like, how do you measure that?
It says we were able to show that beyond 300 Facebook friends, adolescents showed higher cortisol levels. We can therefore imagine that those who have 1,000 or 2,000 friends on Facebook may be subjected to even greater stress.
Okay, but you're supposing that the only thing in your life is your Facebook friends. That's what's okay, whatever. Sometimes research makes me want to run screaming.
And this was out of Sunshine Coast University, which I've never heard of. That doesn't even sound like a real school. I'm sorry. Sunshine Coast University.
I know. Let's do a study. In any case, whatever. There was a news story out though today, and I tend to pick news stories from the UK because I feel like they cover them better.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, and they cover more things from the UK. But this is coming from the UK. Now, my son doesn't have a big issue at a shopping mall sensory-wise. I think I have more of an issue than he does. What about for you? Does Wyatt have an issue
He does
shopping?
at times, he does, yes.
Because sometimes the lights are so bright and it's
and
so
the
noisy,
sound,
especially during the holidays. Man,
Yeah.
I can't go to the mall during the holidays. I really can't.
I get Costco stress out.
Oh, see, Costco I'm okay, but the mall, and especially like I love me a nice Macy's store, but in the holidays and they're spraying people and I can't do it. I really cannot do it because it's a sensory nightmare. But in the UK, they've decided to make something called the Autism Hour. And they've gotten a bunch of stores to agree that during that hour, they will turn down the music, they will dim the lights, and they will make it a more sensory-friendly shopping experience.
Yeah, which is a great
Which
idea.
I think is absolutely amazing. We've seen museums do that here in the United States, and now for a shopping mall to do that, they did a study that was done by the National Autistic Society, suggested that 64% of people with autism and their carers have avoided shopping.
Yeah.
And what's great is that the stores are starting to say, well, we want your business. And that's the key to everything.
Right.
When people start to recognize us as consumers, yay howdy, things change.
I avoid stores oftentimes because of the checkout where the candy is at some of the
Jem used to have a terrible time at the checkout, but it wasn't about the candy because he wasn't allowed the candy. But there's that whole thing where you're in a chute, and he knew that I was trapped.
Right.
I really honestly believe that was the thing that how they always say, why do dogs and children, you get on the phone and that's the moment that they bark or that they start, Mom, I need this or whatever. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think that they understand, I'm more likely to get what I want right now because in the past, when I've pestered you during this thing, and boy, Jem knew that. He knew I was a trapped customer. And so it was hard until I learned the fine art of big distraction.
Right.
But even then, I needed some help to get through the whole store thing.
Yeah.
I did. I had to have support and help to get through it. So anyway, we're really excited because we've got great guests on the show today. We're even having a dog on the show, and we're going to have the family on the show
that's going to
get that dog. It's like putting all the pieces together. Right. It's going to be a lot of people in the studio, so for part of it, I won't be in here to make room for family and dog and to be wrangling otherwise, but we'll both be here.
Okay.
So let's take a break and let's get some people in the studio. We're going to start with Debbie Clark from Autism talking about what it is that she does. What an amazing woman she
really is.
And what a good person.
Yeah.
And very, very dog-centric, although, has some amazing kids too. We'll talk about that and so much more with her after these messages. Stick with us.
Inclusion is everything. Feeling like we have a place where we belong, and when I say we, I'm first and foremost a mother of a child on the spectrum and gym owner and now founder of carrying this to families who need it as well.
My son is extremely hyperactive. Getting him to calm down is a very difficult task. So the idea of Rock the Spectrum Gym, where he could just go and run and play and do all these fun things without any kind of worries and just go and bring down that energy, it helps us so much at home. In the home or at school, it's not acceptable, but this is the one place it is acceptable for the child to kind of be themselves and get it all out there and just really just be themselves.
It's an amazing place where my son could go and be himself. You get to meet other parents who are in the same journey as you are.
I think the most popular aspect of it is how they include all children of all types, not just only learning disabled, lower functioning, moderate functioning, high functioning, and non-disabled.
The people there are so friendly, everybody's like family, they always greet you with a smile. There's not one negative thing I could say about any of the employees, they're all absolutely amazing. So I think every parent should walk in through those doors and see what an amazing gym it is.
Now a diagnosis being 1 out of 6 kids are in some way or form affected with sensory processing disorder or autism. That's why We Rock Now is on the rise. People want to be a part of it. People know that they have a community there. They know that they can learn more information about things that they don't know themselves or that they can share, build friendships, and basically get what you get in an OT facility, but it's not $150 an hour. It's $12.
What is autism?
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 I've been asking myself that for a very, very long time.
Let me think about that one.
Trying to
Let me think. Oh man, that's a rough one. Yes.
Autism,
Autism is a neurological disorder that affects many of our kids in different ways.
It's a learning disability that affects the cognitive functions of the brain.
A lot of people have the misconception that it's a disability, and it's really not.
I look at it as like a special gift.
When one person thinks differently from another.
It's an opportunity for everyone to learn to understand someone that's a little different than them. Autism is the ability to educate.
They're given so much talent in different areas.
To me, autism means a chance to be with and be around people you really care about. Autism is beautiful.
It's a way of seeing the world differently.
Always unique, totally intelligent, and sometimes mysterious.
Happiness that comes out of my son's hard work.
It's a movement.
Unpredictable.
That's right.
Awesome. Love.
The field I want to work in.
Laughter, fun, joy. Autism is beautiful to me.
I want you to remember these 3 words. There is hope.
Hi guys, welcome back to Smarty. This month we're going to be creating our very own Any Animal mask. As we work on this activity, you'll notice that these icons will pop up. These icons tell you important information about what skills we're using to create this craft and how to find them on Skills. Skills is an ABA-based online program that helps parents create individualized programs for their children on the autism spectrum. If you are a Skills user, this will make the most out of this artful and educational activity. Well, let's get started. The materials you'll be needing are glue, scissors, hole puncher, markers or crayons, pipe cleaners, and the template. So step 1, you're gonna go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/autism-live, and you're gonna print out the templates that you see there. Once your templates are printed out, then you're gonna take your scissors and cut them all out. Now that you're finished cutting out all the templates, you're gonna have several different shapes. This is because this will give you a variety of different features you can use to make different kinds of animals. So this is the fun part. You're gonna take these templates and arrange them into any kind of animal you can think of. Use your imagination. There is no wrong answer. Once you figured out the animal that you're gonna want to make, take out your glue and glue them onto the mask. Once that's been finished, then you're gonna take your markers and crayons and decorate it, drawing in the features a little bit clearly and just making it as colorful as you'd like it to be. For the owl that I made, I had to cut out some more holes through it. Once your animal mask is done being decorated, you're gonna use your hole puncher to make holes on the side so you can fasten it to your face. Then you're gonna take your pipe cleaners, thread them through the holes, and then voila, your mask is ready to go. Well, I hope you enjoyed this activity with me. Until next time, guys, craft on. To find more about Skills and to access all of the lessons you saw in today's Smarty, visit skillsforautism.com and click on the parent icon. Skills, the online autism solution.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. Nancy and I are really excited to welcome for the first time on the show a friend, Debbie Clark, and she is an amazing woman. We're going to take a minute to tell you a couple of things about her and 3 words that just don't even come close to describing her, but patient, and persistent. Passionate. Patient, passionate. That's what I want to say.
3 Ps.
But she is somebody who, she's got 2 sons that are on the autism spectrum, and she decided that she wanted to be somebody who was going to train dogs to be able to help individuals who are on the spectrum. I think largely because one had helped your son. Is that true?
Yeah, Dulce. She was the love of my son's life, and an important family member. And she passed away last year, but she inspired me to do some research on where I could get training and certified to be a service dog trainer. So I found this organization called Little Angel Service Dog in San Diego, and for 2.5 years I go down there on weekends to work with dogs and train them to be service dogs for all different disabilities.
But you all, you have one of the biggest hearts of anybody that I've ever come across, and I'm sure that happens with your dogs and with your interactions. We did not know you, right? And then when Nancy's husband was dying, I put out a thing to, friends and family, and I posted it on my Facebook and said, hey, who wants to help provide meals for this family while they're going through this?
Right.
And Debbie came along and said, okay, I want to do this. We'd never even met her at that point. Debbie said, I want to be involved. And then you became the backbone of the entire thing. Debbie was more regular with the meals than anybody else.
Hey, as long as I don't have to cook them, okay?
Well,
honestly,
so
appreciative
it was an amazing thing.
It really was.
And I was like, man, I want to grow up to be more like you.
Oh, God bless you.
No, I think God bless you, Debbie. And that's
you're
why
just
I
like
said
an
we want to take a
angel.
minute.
You're
You are.
so helpful to so many people.
And clearly, that transfers to the dogs too, and that compassion. But sometimes people, they like put on a good show.
Right.
I just wanted people to know she's the real deal.
You walk your talk.
It made me cry.
No, you walk your talk. You definitely do.
Well, you guys are doing amazing things here with the show, spreading information about autism. I mean, that's great.
We try to do what we do, but you've been scheduled to be on the show twice before,
right.
and life intervened.
You had hip surgery.
And you had some hip surgery,
right.
and and I said to you then, I was like, what can I bring you? Because I thought, I need to step it up, because you did so much when she was going through something, and you were like, no, I have the whole thing under control. My sons are taking care of me, and I felt like, darn it, I wanted to try to give back. So at some point, I
got your email and it touched my heart.
Well, it's easy to send an email. You were delivering hot meals week in, week out. Am I not right?
Yes, you were.
Well, and you're a friend in need. I think we're all friends in the autism community.
We are, and as autism moms, we bond together.
That's right. Right, we got to help out each other.
So tell us a little bit about how you started Pautism.
Oh gosh, well, it started with Dulce, my son's service dog. She was an amazing dog, simply amazing, almost human, and she inspired my son to talk more.
Right.
And he would tell people at school about his dog.
Right.
Gave him a little. I actually made a little script for him.
Right.
To talk about Dulce. She was a golden retriever. She's such and such an age, and what she likes to do, play fetch and all that stuff. So he had some talking points. And
he wasn't particularly verbal before he got the dog.
He didn't see any reason for talking.
Right.
He thought small talk was just a waste of time.
Right.
Right. But the dog really inspired him, and I thought, well, there's so many families out there that could benefit from a service dog, and so I did the research, and I found Little Angel Service Dogs. They had an apprenticeship program that I signed up for and spent my weekends down there. And Katie Gonzalez was my inspiration, and I'm also a volunteer dog wrangler on the TV show Lucky Dog on CBS on Saturday mornings.
Right.
And Brandon McMillan, he's probably one of the best trainers around.
Okay.
He's worked with tigers and elephants and lions and bears, and he knew dogs inside and out, so he gave me a lot of pointers on how to train service dogs.
I just was watching on Saturday a Lucky Dog, and they were featuring a family with a child with autism.
Right.
And was seeing all the things that he was putting the dog paces through to see that the dog was right for the family, because not only did they going to have the dog, but they had a cat too, and there was a younger sister, and it was fascinating to watch and to see, how that came about.
Well, because of the time limitations, he didn't have time to make it a full service dog, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of intense training to make sure the dog does the task 85% of the time. So, Brandon lives at the Lucky Dog Ranch and doesn't have much time to train all these dogs. So.
But it was still fascinating.
Wasn't it great?
It was very uplifting, and I was hooked. I was really, really hooked. Love the show.
Tell us about some of the benefits of dogs for those on the spectrum. What are some of the things they provide and do?
Oh my gosh, you're talking about tasks that they can perform?
Yeah, that they can perform and that can help kids on the spectrum with. Why?
Well, a lot of little kids with autism, they have wandering issues.
Right.
Elopement, they call it.
Right.
So you would train the dog to focus in on that child and bond closely with the child and have the child bond with the dog, So I would teach the dog to alert the parents if the child goes outside the door.
Right. We would just talk about the dangers of drowning in autism, so that's one.
Yeah, you could teach the dog to alert them if they fall in the pool.
Right.
So. And then another task is finding them.
Right.
Like if they get lost at a shopping mall or something, you would teach the dog through scent. Smelling the clothes, where to find the dog, where to find the child. So, and another thing, if they're very disorganized, you can teach the dog to retrieve certain items for school in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, you can teach them to get the backpack.
Wow.
And I've even seen videos where the dog stops the child from self-injurious behavior.
Yes.
That the dog will stick a paw up. If the child is hitting themselves in the head, they stick a paw up and bark to alert people this is happening.
Yeah, they recognize that.
It's amazing.
And also when the child is stimming, they can interfere
I've heard
with that.
about a little girl who clapped compulsively, and the dog would stick its nose in between her hands to keep her from clapping.
They're angels. They're amazing. It's it usually takes about 6 months to a year to get them properly trained. So, and then I'm always on call to the families for follow-up training, because if they don't practice with the dog, the dog forgets.
Right.
Interesting. And so there's a very special family that you guys have been in cahoots to help this family. The two of you together. Tell us about what this with the Bacchus family.
Oh yeah, they have 2 small children, and Iris is pregnant again, and Dylan was diagnosed with autism, and when I first met him, he was very nonverbal, and but he's getting a lot of therapy. He's getting ABA therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, and Iris contacted me about 1.5 years ago and said that they got this golden retriever puppy. She sent me pictures, and of course it's so cute. But I don't start training the dog till they're 1 year old.
Okay.
So I said you have to get the dog into socialization classes and then obedience training to get the basic skills. So whenever she had questions about training, we conversed by email or phone. And so Blau turned 1 year old earlier this year.
Okay.
So I started the advanced skill training. And then I went in for hip surgery, so we've had a 4-month hiatus.
Right.
And so we just got back into training last week.
And the family applied for a grant through Act Today.
That's right.
And Act Today is giving you a check for the training, which is quite intensive. So for $2,500
Thank you,
from
guys.
Act Today, we have this to provide to
God
you.
bless you all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This will help a lot.
Well, and what a difference that this dog is going to make in this child's life. It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. And also for the parents. It creates less
yes.
worry for the parents. You
And
know?
for the siblings too, because the dog becomes a part of the family and a functional part of the family. So what a wonderful thing. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to bring some of the family in. I'm probably going to stay out, but I think we're bringing Blau in too. We love it when we have a dog on the show. I think so. So we're going to take a break and then hopefully come back, because there'll be a dog. And you know what they say about dogs and children? You can't upstage them. They upstage you.
Okay.
So stick with us. We are here at the Los Angeles Zoo. We've got quite a group here. I've got my son, Jem, Mike from the A Word, and Jack Riley, star of the A Word, and Jessica. We've got a whole crew of people, and we're going to take a tour around the LA Zoo and see some exciting animals. Sound good, you guys?
What are the safety rules, though? Who do you have to stay next to? Daddy and Dad.
So remember what we talked about? That every time you do something good, I'm going to write it on my hand. When you get 35 of these, what are you going to get?
3 hours of reading.
Yes, it's not a secret. You can tell people. What kinds of things do you need to do to get a mark on my hand?
Being kind. And good listening.
Jem, can you show him where the chimpanzees are? Can you point it out to him?
Show Jack Riley. And tell us what your responsibilities are here at the LA Zoo.
I am the manager of volunteer programs at the Greater Los Angeles Zoo Association. I oversee the docents, the student volunteers, the general volunteers, and community service volunteers.
Give us an overview of what kinds of things people can see at the zoo.
There are lots of animals to see. We have a lot of endangered. We participate in a lot of conservation programs, and we offer a lot of education programs for our community, for school groups, for members, special needs.
What kinds of accommodations can you make when somebody has specific issues?
We have our special needs outreach program, and where we have a van that goes out into the community, and we bring a handful of animals to facilities that can't quite get to the zoo. So that could be a school, that could be a retirement community, that could be a hospital, and there are some courthouses that we visit as well. And we bring a couple animals and we talk about them, and it's kind of a fun experience. So that's our outreach program. And then on grounds, we also have tours, and we offer special needs tours for people catered to their needs. We have our petting zoo, so you can go and you can pet some goats.
We're here with from Autism Live, and we were wondering if you could tell us what it's like to be a goat in the zoo. Really?
And we have our condor rescue zone, so you can go in and pretend you are a condor, or you could be a biologist, or you could be a vet. And it's kind of fun.
Thank you for all the work that you do here and for making it accessible for all of our kids. Here with Janet Jackson. Janet, tell us what your role at the zoo is.
My role is a docent, and we're volunteers.
How did you learn all the things that you know?
Well, that's the great thing about the Los Angeles Zoo. We have a special docent program. It's one of the most stringent ones in the country. Actually, it's UCLA accredited class.
Well, it added so much to our visit to the zoo today. So I thank you for all your knowledge and all you're giving to the community.
Well, thank you, because I had a special needs child too, and I think it's so important that they interact with animals, and that helped my son when he was going through so much trauma, that we saw that he was able to grow and to expand a little bit, and it just helped us as parents because we had a tool to use, and we saw the love and the care that he was able to bring out just by touching animals and being around animals, because there is no judgment there.
Amen to that. Well, thank you for paying it forward, because you are. I definitely saw you doing that today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
What was hard for you guys today at the zoo, do you feel?
To be completely honest, I was about to say this is the easiest, best outing I can recall. My concerns are I think we're sort of past elopement, but it's always on my mind when it's just with the two of us out in a, you know, you can get 20 feet away if it's busy and be lost, you know, be misplaced. But nothing like that happened today. There were a lot of people helping me, of course.
It was interesting for me because Jem hasn't been here since he was 3, like right after we started therapy. And I remember that was hellish, the day that we were here. Sometimes I don't notice the progress until we're out someplace like this. Do you feel like that's true too?
Yes, today I was actually comfortable with him being 15, 20 feet away. And even if he wasn't holding anybody's hand or anything, I was comfortable. And that's a new feeling.
I watched that and I said, man, there's no way we could have done that at that age. So he's doing really well. And I was so engaged by how Jack Riley is so aware of the circumstances around him. He's really doing great.
Yeah, thank you. He's curious. And he's just learned a lot. I mean, I can't give enough credit to Miss Jessica. No disrespect to any of our other therapists, and she's been with him for the whole time. So that's a constant in his life, and I dread the day when she's not.
It's always amazing. We had our rock star on our team. There's always one therapist that just becomes a part of your family forever. What would you say to parents who are afraid to do it even with an aide?
I understand your fear, because I've always had it. But sometimes they surprise you. I know it's called a spectrum for a reason, and my son is not like any other son or daughter, and so I can't advise you on what may or may not happen. We were always worried about transitions. They're getting better because we do it, and explain what is expected before you get here. That was a hard lesson for me to learn, but every time I don't explain to him the expectations, I have more problems. I have more transitional issues, but when he knows what transitions he's going to face that day, he handles it. So my advice would be talk it out, but come do it and come again, even if it's a horrible experience, because it might be. You got to do it the first time before you can do it the second time. So
I think in general, I mean, I explained the expectations here and we carried it out of my hand. I agree with you. It's super duper important. I think it's good for us too, because then we know what we're expecting too.
And they've engaged each other a little bit, which I was very happy to see.
Thank you so much for coming and doing this play date with us. We had a really great time.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it, and it's just a great experience. I can't wait to tell my wife how well he did. So.
And let's do it again sometime.
Okay, anytime. Okay.
Being part of this community is really important to a mom with a son like Jackson, because it really does take a village, and you need so much support, to help bring out all of the amazing qualities and skills and talents that our children have. So I'm just very grateful to everybody who was a part of this.
I think it helps with all sorts of that self-esteem, social skills. They seem to communicate a little bit with each other, and they had a lot of friends. The helpers were phenomenal, and I think the social skills for sure, because they worked together and they did a couple group things across the floor, and they sang songs together, and yeah, for sure, I think it's a really huge deal. A great program.
What programs like this show is the person is in front of what we call today a disorder. I think what we're finding is that these sorts of brain challenges that make people unique can actually be gifts in ways we haven't discovered in the rest of society to bring them out. So when you see a program like this and you see the kids dancing, having fun, and making up jokes, making up the story. I was here when they did that. That was so amazing to watch because they were all focused, they were all present, and they were all laughing, they were all getting into the creation of this story. And that to me sort of broke the barrier to say, no, first we're dealing with people and then we're dealing with the challenges.
This is the Act Today, One Hope Act Today for Military Families Run and Festival, and it's to benefit military families challenged by autism. So we're out here for a great day. Not only is there a 10K run, a 5K run, and a 1 mile fun run, there's a kids run and there's an Easter egg hunt. Military families are particularly hard hit because they have very special circumstances.
I have 3 kids in my family. You know, my nephew has 3 children that are all on the spectrum. And for me, it originally became about understanding and learning about autism. And then it became about, you know, what can I do to help? It takes $3 million to raise a child through their lifetime with autism. That's a great reason to get involved.
On your mark, get set.
I think people forget the people element involved with autism. You know, the families that are suffering, the children that are suffering.
Society could be robbed of so much untapped potential, talent, and skills if we're not helping the children of these military families as much as any other children out there. Not just those suffering with autism, but those struggling.
People should get together and tell their friends and family to donate to Act Today. It's a really important cause, one that's close to our heart and the San Diego community as a whole, and an incredible opportunity to support the military. So get out there and donate.
Okay, we are back with the whole family, including Blau, the dog, and we're back with Dad Mirko.
That's right.
Right. We've got Dylan here. We've got Mom Iris. Hi. And the whole family is here with their wonderful new assistance dog. And Debbie's sitting here giving the dog a little bit of training as we speak, so you can see some of this in action. So tell us how it feels to have the dog now.
Oh, it feels great. He brings a lot of joy to our lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how long have you had the dog now?
We've had him for almost
like a year,
right? More than a year.
Yeah, a little more than a year.
A little more than a year, and you've been doing some basic training with the dog.
Yeah, and we already started with Debbie already sometime.
Debbie's already started, but
surgery.
now...
Well,
because-
by phone and email.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, because of a grant through Act Today, we're going to be giving you full training for the dog. So the dog is going to be able to work with Dylan. And tell us about some of the changes you've seen in Dylan since you've had the dog.
Well, he lately actually he's been feeding him at nighttime, and he gets excited telling him like sit before he eats and stay, and then he tells him to go. He doesn't really obey him,
right?
But he looks at me to see when I say the word. And I think it's good practice getting him closer to the dog.
Dylan's becoming more verbal.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
I would also say that the dog Blau is his name takes him out of his own world because
Right. Yeah.
Dylan has difficulties to relate to other kids.
Right.
And now there has been a lot more interaction with the dog. So between Dylan and the dog, there has been a lot more interaction, and he's been playing with the dog and been throwing the ball, and I would say that he also calms him down.
Right.
So it's been of great benefit actually to him so far.
Debbie, tell us about some of the things you're going to be working with the dog on now.
Well, public access primarily, so we can pass the public access test. all dogs that become certified service dogs have to be able to have good behavior in public.
Okay.
So we're working on go potty before you go in a building, and also go on command.
Okay.
We're working on when we come to a curb at the street, we stop and we sit, and we're just doing the basic elements right now, and also when you go to a restaurant, how he's supposed to act there. And he's very hyper right now because he's excited to be on TV.
Right, and he's excited to see you. He hasn't seen you in a long time. Right.
So he's got to learn how to go under a table and stay there for an hour or an hour and a half. A lot of dogs can't stay that long. But the first time that we did it with Blau, he was there and stayed and was very patient.
Yes. Look at
And
Blau.
then he
He's so
then
cute.
he started pawing me, and I thought, well, maybe he has to go to the bathroom.
Right.
So took him outside, and he did go to the bathroom. So he knows not to go inside a restaurant. So
Right.
he's just very smart.
Okay. He looks like a very smart dog, and he's a very beautiful dog.
I think the back houses won the lottery when they got this dog.
Right,
You
right.
know.
So are there things that specifically he's going to be doing to bring out more vocal? More
Oh yeah,
language?
Dylan's my assistant dog trainer.
Okay.
So he's teaching the dog to sit, stay, go down.
Okay. So he'll be learning language.
He'll be learning language. And his ABA therapist is working on language too, right?
Okay. So you're looking at yourself on TV, aren't you there? You see yourself? Yeah? See yourself on the TV screen? So Debbie, this is quite a process. This is a long process of training these dogs. How long does the training usually take?
Well, I'll be available to them till the dog passes away.
Okay. But from beginning to end, it can take, what, a couple of years?
The training itself, 6 months.
6 months.
6 months to a year.
Okay.
For him to get down to all the advanced training. We're also going to work on Blau sleeping with Dylan.
Okay.
And also alerting the parents if he goes outside the front door.
Dylan's trying to make an escape now.
Down.
I think we're going to let him down and let him walk around a little bit. There you go, Dylan. It's okay.
Stay.
So, okay, we're gonna take a break now. Now that we've seen the dog, we've seen Dylan. Shannon's right there. You want to go outside? Oh, he wants to see himself on TV.
Such a
You see
handsome
yourself?
dude.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Go right up to that camera there. There you go.
Yay.
Yeah, that's making you.
You know what
smile.
I find is that kids really like to talk into microphones.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's between Blau and Dylan.
Oh, look. There you go. You see? Isn't that magic? Yeah. Oh, look at him. He's loving the camera. Well, Debbie, this is we're so excited for the family and so honored to have you training this dog for them.
Thank you. And thank you for the grant, too.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So
You're
much for
welcome. We
that.
can't think of a more deserving family for this grant. And the dog is absolutely fantastic. Blau is just a beautiful specimen of a dog, and I know he's going to do great in his training.
Yeah, he will.
Okay.
He's teaching me things, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure we learn from them, don't we?
Yeah, we do, definitely.
Okay. All right, well, thank you all. We're so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Congratulations.
Thank you so
everything.
much.
Thank you for the
Okay.
grant.
All right.